All right, everybody, this is it. This is 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities. But you may be noticing, if you're listening to 1420, that the Braves are on. That's right, they're in the 11th inning. And as soon as they're over, well, yes, we will be having NHL Stanley Cup playoff hockey. The Pittsburgh Penguins trying to go for the sweep. They're up 2-0. The Penguins playing the Nashville Predators. We, of course, became the very first radio station to broadcast NHL hockey this year, beginning with the All-Star game from Los Angeles on January the 29th. So right now I'm enjoying the lovely tones of Don Sutton, but I just want you all to know we will be having playoff hockey very shortly at the immediate conclusion of the Braves game. We will not be broadcasting the post-game show. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, look at all the people that have come on here. I'm telling you right now, I very impressed. How are you doing? Can you talk pit football? I would love to talk pit football. I was engaged in a Twitter war with some knitter who evidently thinks that Curly and what's his name, Spanier, have been sent to jail for misdemeanors. I'm not making that up. This is the first time we've actually gone, by the way, live. Donna, by the way, speaking of pit football, grew up across the street from Dan Marino. How are you doing, Donna? Let's see here. I'm going to give you the lovely tour right now of AM 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities. Here, let's see here. I think that I can do this. Yes, there we have. This is our clock. We are actually a little late for hockey now. And now we show the wonderful radio studio this is here in the thriving metropolis of Irwin, Tennessee. Maybe not quite so throbbing, but thriving as it used to be. And as you see, our lobby here, we're having a food drive. So if you're in Tennessee, drive, and you can see it in here with the little bags. Basil, that's right, basil, because everybody needs to know how to cook Italian food. What I really enjoy about working here is just the fact that we have so many things in this room. Yes, you may not be able to see it, but let's turn on the light. Here it is, yes. This is where so much production happens, actually so much technical stuff. This is where we broadcast the stuff amid the many, many, many old country albums. What do we have here? Let's see what we have here. Seawalker, Gospel Tones Quartet. So you see that was an old format, if you will. Here, what else do we have here? No, I'm sorry, no Frankie Yankovic. But, oh, this looks pretty interesting. I would like to go to this club. I don't know about you. This looks kind of exciting here. Everybody dance, everybody swing. Leon McAuliffe and his swinging Western band. So I'm going to try to find, right there, I think we need to look at the women there in their boots and heels and try to figure out where that club is and if they're still doing that. We even have old 45. We don't have a turntable, however, but party Johnny Lee. There we go. Can I talk boxing? I got to get my main man, Rob Pratt here. One of the things that I like so much about it here is some of you may remember the old signage of WEMB, WXIS from the interstate and wondering about whatever happened to it. Well, here you go. Look out! Yes! Let's go back and see how the Braves are doing. What do you say? Took me forever to find this light switch. Okay, so here we are. This is where I do all the production. If you've been listening to the funny promos that I've been doing here, the one where we did the Age of Aquarius, this is where it all happens, right here. That's right. There was a no-hitter today. What's going on in boxing, Scott? Maybe you can go in there with me. I think that it's not. I'm a little bit, interested, certainly coming in to the Predators and Penguins. I'll tell you this much, what Malkin and Subban did before is not boxing. I've got to turn it back again here. This, you can see, is my playoff beard. That's right, my playoff beard. Robert Bright, who has joined in, will know something about a playoff beard here. So we're just awaiting. I'm debating here now whether or not to go to Beefo Brady's after this game or just drive right home and watch the Stanley Cup. In fact, I'm debating right now. Or you can do this. This is what's known as Q. You want to see this is now this is my radio board right here. My radio board is very simple. By the way, on Braves broadcast, it's all network sponsors and extra innings. They're tied in the 11. And so what we do here is, for instance, if you want to listen to something in Q, this is, see, that's the pot that the Braves come in. This board is actually probably from when the station moved to this location in 1966. I like it, though. Very simple. This is what I learned on in Point Park College. Yeah, it was college back then. So what can I say? I mean, the board was just like it here. And it's real simple to operate. What else could I ask? Well, maybe not to leave on the microphone as much yes, during commercials, but this is the microphone. What I'm getting to now is we can listen to what the Penguins are doing here. There you go. You see? Listen to it. Right there. I'm not sure that we're allowed to do this here, but this is, oh, who's starting in goal? Who's starting in goal? Yeah, I would hope so. If you know anything about what I was, what we put up on Twitter, what we put on our 1420 NBC Sports Radio Facebook, frankly, if Peter Lavallee had gone with anybody but Pekka Rinne, it would just be, can you imagine the locker room divide? It would be panic, absolute panic. This is the man that's carried them to the playoffs, through the playoffs. I have my skepticism that a hot goalie can take you all the way to the Stanley Cup, but to the finals, it doesn't always happen that way. Hello, Sean Malooly. Hey, look at this. Robert Hall Jr. is defending his WBC title July 22nd. Scott, I got to get you on to talk about that. Also, my man Rob Pratt. You'll also notice here that since I'm a sports talk show host in Tennessee, see, here's what I'm trying to figure out. Whether I should go to Beefo Brady's, at which point I know that they won't get me down there and I'll be spending money, but I understand that there are a group of Predators fans out there, you see, and they get together and they watch the Stanley Cup Finals. Now, I'm kind of thinking real hard about going down there. And anybody here remember the Cheers episode, the Tortelli Tort? Who remembers that one? Remember, I think the character was Big Al. He was an old professional wrestler, was the actor. And he came down there and, here we are, Shandell Winters from Chicago. Scott, thank you for doing this here. Hello, Stephen Golden. It's good to see you. I'm going to have to get Scott on there and to promote some of the things. We want Bang Bang to sponsor the show. We'll definitely be getting a lot of boxing. I mean, there'll be boxing all over the place. One other thing, Scott, I'd like to be able to talk to you about is MMA. Some of our consultants have wanted us to talk more about MMA due to the fact that it's very big with the college kids. It's very big with millennials. So when you're trying to get usage and all that, let me go back though. I know a lot of people are watching. They all want to talk about and how the Braves are doing. Let's see here. Hold on. They've got one on. The Reds do in the bottom of the ninth. Backup catcher, by the way, that hit the game-winning home run for the Reds last night was from Punxsutawney. There you go. For all my Western PA friends out there, yes. So, and all of a sudden his name escapes me, but if you go to the 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities Facebook page, you'll be able to get that name because we wrote all about it. So that was actually, if you looked at the standings, that home run actually prevented the Pirates from going percentage points ahead of the Reds in the standings. So this game right now, I understand the Mets are leading the Pirates 2-1, and the Bucks trail the Reds by a game in the standings. So, yeah, this game right here for my Western PA friends does have significant impact to the Buccos. But, well, hey, we're 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities, home of the Atlanta Braves, and you know how much I like the Atlanta Braves. You really do. Yeah, you're welcome, Scotty. We really do like the. I've always been a Braves fan ever since about 80. Well, really, I would say since I was a kid because my grandparents lived in South Carolina, so that was the Southern team, the Southern baseball team, and so there were something of a team that I liked in addition to the Pirates. And then when Chuck Tanner in the mid 80s went down to manage them, and I moved down here, I became very much a Braves fan. Less so when he was fired, excuse me, obviously when he was hired. I'll just say that it wouldn't have been the Braves losing those World Series if Tanner was there. Okay, completely biased comment right there, but he was 2-0 in all of his postseason appearances. There you go. One is only one. Sean Mullooly, by the way, if you're still on, loved the outing that said that since 1961, the third best manager in baseball history handling his bullpen was Chuck Tanner, according to 538. The worst, yeah, my old friend Jim Leland. Here we go. Eric Pitt is it. Rogers, good work. You know I'm Pitt's old sideline reporter. You know that, don't you? Yeah, 1998, Temple 34, Pitt 33. Mac DeVito led the Owls back from a 20-0 deficit. I think it's the largest come-from-behind victory in Temple Owls history at Old Pitt Stadium. Would have changed the experience of the loss for Pitt, certainly. And I mean, we want to be objective and all, but come on, I'm on a Pitt network. Give me a break. You know that I want them. That's my favorite team as a kid. Come on. And so anyway, but it was just great to be on the sideline for a Pitt game at Old Pitt Stadium. I also remember that day, the one thing that I had better, they lost by a point, although, and I know this sounds odd, you have to just understand the way the game played out. There was a missed extra point. How do I explain this? It wasn't as big as the score of a 1-point loss would seem to indicate, because Temple scored with like 30 seconds left. They scored a touchdown, went for 2, and didn't make it. So, if the extra point had been successful, then, well, they would have just kicked the extra point conceivably, or to go up by 2, or, I mean, what I'm trying to say, it was not the difference between victory and loss. But where I'm going with this is that I remember being right in position during that football game as a sideline reporter and being the only person out of 40,000 in the house to see that the laces were wrong on the hold. They were off to the side. Guess where the extra point went off to the side. And, well, Ace Billson had that one. Okay. Michael Caine, how do you do? Wait a minute. Rich Pasquale, how's Carnegie Mellon doing, man? How's baseball going on? Okay, let's see here. What I want to get to, this is what I want to ask people on Facebook Live. If I should just go home, cook myself a nice spaghetti dinner, relax, open up a can of Italian beans. You know how much I like canned Italian beans. I love them. And watch the Penguins that way. Or if I should go down to Beef O'Brady's. Should I do that? And should I hand out have you seen my business cards here? You seen that? You seen the business cards here? Let's see what we got. These are the business cards. Yes, they are. Should probably turn down the sound here a little bit of the Braves game. You're only supposed to be listening on the radio. Although I think it is okay, because I know fans used to do this. I remember there was a guy who made Tennessee Magazine. He lived in Texas. He was a huge Tennessee Volunteers fan. And this was before the internet. Mark Cuban did this sort of stuff. But in the 80s, call up a buddy in Tennessee and said, would you please take the phone off the hook and put it by your radio so I can listen in to the Tennessee Volunteers game? And he'd do that. And that's, in the age of toll calls, too. And he'd do that. I thought that was a pretty big deal. Carsick, how's it going? Man's going off to Syracuse. Okay, we're all over the place. But this is Ye old business card here at 1420. Look at that. Hey, there's a logo right there. Tri-City Sports Now. Follow us on Twitter, NBC. Look at that, man. And see, what I'm thinking of doing is going down to Beef O'Brady's. I'm thinking of going down there, and I know that I'm supposed to be the objective sports media member. I know that I'm in Tennessee now. And really, this is the perfect Stanley Cup Finals for me. Penguins, Predators, what could be better? I'm teaching this area hockey. And, you know, after all those years of covering hockey for the Post-Gazette and the Wheeling Intelligencer, this is just great for me. This is just a dream come true. Looks like we're going to go 12. All right. But what I'm thinking of doing is going down to that Predators crowd. And like I said, it's like the Cheers episode, episode 3, the Tortelli Tort. Remember that one? And I think it was Big Al came in and started knocking, you know, Boston and the Red Sox. It was great. It was aired right during the '82 World Series. I remember watching it on first run, and it truly captured the old Boston, New York rivalry, Red Sox Yankees. But I'm kind of thinking about, you know, doing one of these things. Hold on. What are we going to do? I mean, I'm thinking of more of the lovely WEMB right here. This is my boss's office. She locks the door. The old boss, who was a crook, used to be in here. He now sells advertising accounts to anti-Semitic churches for another radio station. I wish I was lying on that. He actually does that. Hold on. Let's see how the Braves are doing. Hold on. That's right. 12th inning, 5-5. All right. They won in extra innings yesterday, too. As I said, 10-inning victory for the Redlegs. So the Braves trying to stay alive in this series and get it to a rubber game tomorrow that would be heard on, well, right there, 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities. But here we go. This is what I'm asking. I'm taking a long time to get to it. I do apologize. And what am I going to say? Here we are. What's this? Is this a Predators bar? This hat predates Lemieux, by the way. Yeah, I got it before he scored the first goal against Boston, against Pete Peters and all that. Wow, but I can't come up with anything, you know, I mean, do I go down there and all my Pittsburgh buddies and all that say, yeah, back in a real town, they call me Marky, you know. That's 385 with an M to you. Now, if you're a real Pittsburgh sports fan, you'll get that one, okay? Anyway, but, you know, I don't know. You know, it's they go back to being Randall Graves right now due to the fact that, like I said, I don't necessarily know if that's what I want to do, but a part of me does, because then they'll all remember me, and I can hand out the old cards, and hopefully everyone will have a good laugh at it. And just a matter of whether or not there's a Carlo Tortelli there at Beef O'Brady's or not. Anyway, let's see here. We've got one person live. Who else do we have on here? Hopefully we have more people on here. And we have Eric. It's good. I'm trying to get those comments coming through. Hi. Let's see what we got here. There it is. House of getting icy light. Relax. Watch the game. There you go. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. Having a spaghetti and the icy light. Yeah, that sort of thing. Of course, they don't sell icy light down here. That's a problem. By the way, they actually did for a while as close as Atkins, Virginia, which is about 75 miles north of here, and there was a store that sold it that was a mile away, right off the interstate exit to where my lady friend at the time was staying. There you go. Hey, Frank. Now, for all you East Tennesseans down there, Frank Santori, some Stanley Cup's going on here, and we'll be tuning to it on 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities right after this. Frank, and you see we got the playoff beard going. we have Frank Santori was perhaps East Tennessee's first hockey broadcaster, called the Knoxville Cherokees back in the day, and really the first native Tennessean to do that. And he made a he also made a reference to Les Binkley on Facebook the other day, which I was rather impressed by. So there we are. Michael Caine has joined. Where do I know Michael Caine from? Oh, I have a very beautiful woman. Chelsea Cornell has joined. How are you doing there, Chelsea? It's good to see you. This is where I'm at right here. Now, one of the things about this, I'm going to show you here, more on WEMB WXIS. All right, now here's where it gets real nice. This is, see, by the way, this painting was drawn by one of the station's originator, Jim True, who the current owners, that's their father. He passed away in 1994, but he was very big on bringing sportscasts to the marketplace here. I used to listen to WXIS and St. Louis Cardinals games all the time. But here's where we're going. That's right. We missed it. By the way, the Braves just went ahead. I didn't quite catch it. Here we are. So, Eric, let's see here. I know we're here. What's going on? I was trying to show you here where we're at. Matt Adams. That's his second home run of the game, by the way. He had a grand slam earlier and hits his, I believe, his fifth of the season. You couldn't have asked for a better performance in getting a replacement for Freddie Freeman, who, of course, was one of the hottest hitters in baseball. But where we're trying to go to before he was hurt, Freeman, of course, the first baseman for the Braves, if you weren't aware, where we're going with this is sort of my domain. And yes, there are actually horses in the field. So for all my Pittsburgh buddies, no, it's not exactly Fleet Street, but there you go. This is very East Tennessee. You're going to see this old, well, there's a pickup truck drive. Here we go. But yes, there it is. Yes, that's quite East Tennessee. Red truck driving down Temple Hill Road. And that's the interstate. That's Interstate I-26, which will take you from Kingsport to Charleston, South Carolina. All right. And we have, for all the other people here, all right, maybe not quite as tall as Mount Washington, certainly not as developed, but there you go. One of the famous East Tennessee hills. It's all Appalachia, right? Okay, let's go back in now. See what's going on. So yes, Matt Adams, his second home run of the day, and the Braves now lead the Redlegs 6-5, which is good news for me because then I can go back to hopefully getting out here and watching the hockey game. But anyhow, let's see here. I'm hoping that Chelsea was still on and will actually communicate with me. I miss Chelsea. For those of you who don't know, back when I was a cab driver in Pittsburgh, I love being a cab driver in Pittsburgh. I would stop in all the time to Damon's, which is a now defunct chain. Great food there. And Chelsea and her twin sister were the waitresses and bartenders there. We got along pretty well. And I know that there's some other people down there who, you know, they used to always like to hide my computer too, which I didn't necessarily like. That anyhow, you not all right, you girls. Hide this. Actually, station management might like it if you hid that one. There we are here. This is the old, at least it doesn't say Mutual Networks, folks. This is the 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities clock. There we are.
Sam Freeman has.
And if you want to call something in for Tradio, that's right there too, right? So if you have something to sell and don't have an eBay account, there you are. What else can I tell you here? We had that is going on. Yes, it is somewhat of a smaller station. I'll also show you this. This is the other thing about WEMB WXIS that's really cool. It's very dark in here now. Yes, you've sensed that. All right, what is this room? You wouldn't know it now, but I worked here 20 years ago, for those who don't know. And this room right here, believe it or not, at that time, was the FM studio. They've obviously taken the walls up. You can see sort of the rays right here. And I would come in and it would be very cramped, as you might imagine, with all the records here. Well, I'm trying to remember if it was records or not that we were playing. I do remember playing some CDs. And, you'd have the equipment and such going around, if this can be the radio studio, playing the Fox Kids Countdown or other programming of the time. Now we are a news station, you see. So there you are. All right, so remember, folks, right after the Braves game, we'll be going right to Smashville for the Stanley Cup Finals. See how they're doing right here. But again, now if you've not been around here and you don't know this, this is very fun for me to explain because you know how much I love radio. And it's just playing something in cue. And again, here we go. Now, I just turned down the monitor, okay? So it doesn't mean that we can't hear it there. See, these are the levels, right? Let's see if I can show you. These are the levels right here for you to know. That's Don Sutton and Jim Powell. That's the frequency that they're going out on. I see the Mets now have taken a 3-2 lead over the Buccos in the third inning with Jay Bruce hitting a home run. Okay. But here, so I want to find out, and this helps go from program to program if you haven't noticed. And here we are. There's Kenny Albert. You can, I'm trying to talk over it because I don't think we should be giving the play-by-play, if you will. And there you go. We have that. And so I'm down to 10% of the battery. And I think that everybody is probably fed up with me by now. Anyhow, the game is still on. I just turned down the sound in the studio here because the Braves probably won't like it if I'm on Facebook Live and all that. Oh, yes, it's a great advertisement. Have any of you seen the marathon, heard the marathon ad about Drive the American Road? Back up in Pittsburgh, do they still have Richard Petty on top of the gas pumps on the marathons up there? I kind of curious about that. I always thought that was pretty cool. By the way, we interviewed Richard Petty on this show, Tri-City Sports Now, back in November. There you go. And so, but yeah, it's time for me now basically to start cleaning up here, getting prepared, trying to figure out whether or not I should go down to Beef O'Brady's to promote my show and risk getting a punch in the nose, because you know that I can't be just polite and say, how do you do? I'm the hockey expert. No, I've got to be Big Al on the Tortelli Tort from Cheers. I got to be. I mean, you know, this is just, and you people in Tennessee know this. I got to be, you know, is this a Predators bar? You know, that sort of thing. I don't know. I got to be that way. But that's how you remember someone. That's the thing. So they're just now dropping a puck at a Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. We will be on the air very shortly with that game. No Braves post-game. Hopefully the Braves, for all parties concerned, except for the contingent of East Tennessee viewers here who root for the Cincinnati Reds, and I know that there are the traditional team, the pre-1966 team of the Tri-Cities Tennessee era, if you will, the Cincinnati Reds. And so those fans are rooting for a comeback. I'm not sure it's half and a half. When I was a kid down here, I think it was half and a half Braves and Reds. Now I think that it's much more the Braves. I really do. The success, I'll give you this stat. 1990, last year the Reds won the World Series. Since that time, for all my Western PA friends, the Pirates have made the postseason more times than the Reds, 5-4 since 1990. Bet you didn't know that. It would have been 5-5 if the Mets had won. The Mets had lost that game, play-in playoff game, game 163 back in '99, but it was not to be. And the next year the Mets went to the pennant. That was a year Mojo rising, 1999. Braves went up 3-0 in the NLCS and then lost the next two. And remember them? I don't know. It was, I think, Robin Ventura hit the home run that eventually became a single, if you remember that. Anyway, but that's where we're at right now. So right now, Braves 6, Reds 5 with the Stanley Cup on deck. We'll see if the Braves can get out of the 12th inning, and then we'll go right to hockey. We are the first radio station to be broadcasting hockey in the Tri-Cities. We hope you've enjoyed this tour. Maybe we'll give you many others here on 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities. It is the magic station. The call letters, of course, WEMB, which stand for now wisely employing Marky Billson. So long, everyone.
Reds last scored in the 6th inning.